It had been a couple of tough weeks for Buddy Hield, but he snapped out of his shooting slump in style, knocking down a smooth three to signal he was back in rhythm. That shot seemed to re-energize the Warriors. And as the possession clock ticked down, Dante DiVincenzo kept battling defensively, eventually swinging the ball out to Moses Moody. Moody squared up, took his time, and got the shooter's roll. His three rattled in to cap off a smart play by Wiggins, who had drawn defenders with a strong post-up. That bucket was huge coming out of a timeout, stopping Minnesota's momentum. Moody wasn't done. He buried another triple soon after. Credit Trace Jackson Davis, TJD, for sprinting the floor and pulling defenders with him, which opened up Moody on the wing. Then it was time for Steph Curry to make his presence felt. Although he'd been scoreless up to that point, Steph flipped in a crafty shot over traffic to get on the board. DiVincenzo took a late clock heave from deep, more hopeful than calculated. And though it missed, Minnesota's McDaniels grabbed the rebound with a head of steam and slammed it home, punishing the Warriors for not boxing out. But Steph, always on to answer back, found himself free on the next play and drilled a three in McDaniels' face, letting him know the price of taking your eye off the best shooter in the game. Rudy Gobert could only shake his head. There's not much a big man can do when Steph is rolling like that. Moody kept up his strong performance, driving hard and finishing over Gobert for his 8th point. Just a simple ball screen and decisive. Move. Textbook. Then Buddy Hield flashed his court vision, threading a beautiful pass to Gary Payton II, GP2, for the easy bucket. Buddy tried another three shortly after. No good. But Moody again made an impact, keeping the ball alive with an offensive tap-out. Looney grabbed the rebound, and after some quick passing, Steph got the ball back and launched another deep three. Pure. That sequence was all hustle from Moody, who had a hand in multiple rebounds. McDaniels tried to respond, but Steph attacked him off the dribble and laid it in again. All those Minnesota free throws had slowed the game down earlier, but Golden State picked up the pace, and Steph was cooking. To start the fourth quarter, Buddy Hield knocked down another three. It came off a smart off-ball screen from Steph, who dragged two defenders inside and left Buddy wide open. Moments later, GP2 slashed to the rim and scored again. This was his first game since Christmas, and he already had 6 points. Then Hield showed his defensive chops, blocking a shot and moving his feet well to contain the drive. With the shot clock winding down, Buddy took on a solid defender in Mike Conley, trying to create some space. He missed, but TJD hustled for the offensive rebound and kicked it back out. The ball eventually found DiVincenzo, who stepped into a three and got fouled. He knocked it down, setting up a rare 4-point play opportunity. Steph came off a double screen on the next possession. After a flyby closeout, he passed to GP2, who kicked it to Looney. Then Curry relocated to the corner, caught it again, and buried a side deep three. The crowd erupted. Classic Steph. Even when Minnesota played solid defense, the Warriors' ball movement made them pay. DiVincenzo, the hot hand of the night, kept punishing from deep. And after a made bucket, the Timberwolves were forced to inbound quickly, now trailing by just 2 scores with 6.3 seconds left. Minnesota made their free throws, though. Reed had made 28 straight, and that all but sealed it. Some fans started heading for the exits before the final whistle. On Minnesota's final possession, Anthony Edwards stepped up. The Timberwolves had him alongside DiVincenzo, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Naz Reid, and Brandon Clark on the floor. Edwards, the rising star, proved why he's so tough to guard, using his body and skill to create space and hitting big shots down the stretch. Golden State tried to stay close. They subbed in Gui Santos for Knox, and TJD continued to be active in the paint. But turnovers hurt them. Santos got stripped by Clark, who pushed the ball in transition, forcing the Warriors to scramble back. Golden State got the rebound and tried to regroup. Spencer handled the ball, feeding TJD in the post. He passed out to Santos, who worked against Edwards but couldn't get the shot off in time. Strong defensive rotation by Minnesota. Clark pushed the pace again, this time swinging it to Edwards outside. The Timberwolves ran their offense cleanly, finding open looks for DiVincenzo and Reed. Even when Minnesota missed, they owned the glass. Reed had 11 rebounds and got second chances. One of the Warriors' few bright spots late was a tough bucket by GP2, who made a spinning layup with a defender draped on him. That drew cheers from the bench. Gary was clearly back in game shape. But Edwards took over again. He calmly pulled up from 18 feet and swished it, extending the Timberwolves' lead to 9. He wasn't forcing things, just taking what the defense gave him and knocking down shots when it mattered most. Golden State tried to respond through Jackson Davis, but he struggled to finish against Minnesota's length. Reed got yet another rebound and quickly got the ball up the floor. DiVincenzo found Reed on a pick and pop, and Reed knocked down another 3. The Timberwolves' spacing and patience on offense really began to stretch Golden State's defense. Back-to-back threes, precise ball movement, and relentless rebounding gave Minnesota a double-digit lead. Santos and TJD tried to slow the bleeding for the Warriors, but by now, the momentum had swung firmly in Minnesota's favor. The Wolves were firing on all cylinders, and their defense was stifling, forcing Golden State into tough shots and late-clock heaves. As the fourth quarter wound down, Minnesota's hustle stood out. They played with energy, chased every loose ball, and locked in defensively, particularly on the perimeter. The Warriors, on the other hand, just couldn't find a rhythm, and despite moments of brilliance from Steph, Moody, and Buddy Hield, it wasn't enough to overcome the Timberwolves' complete team effort. Final buzzer, Minnesota takes the win. The Timberwolves delivered a commanding performance against the Golden State Warriors, closing out their playoff series with intensity, teamwork, and strong execution on both ends of the floor. From early struggles to late-game dominance, Minnesota asserted their will, showcasing their depth, defensive grit, and superstar execution. First half, breaking the slump, finding rhythm. Golden State started with one objective: get Buddy Hield out of his shooting slump. He responded early, knocking down a triple and giving signs he was back in rhythm. DiVincenzo fought hard on defense, while Moses Moody capitalized on the Warriors' ball movement, getting a shooter's bounce to bury a key three-pointer. The Warriors' patience and unselfish play were evident, especially on sequences like Trace Jackson-Davis, TJD, running the floor, drawing defenders, and opening up the perimeter for Moody, who made back-to-back threes. Yet, the Timberwolves answered. McDaniels punished the Warriors on the glass and gave Minnesota second-chance points. Steph Curry, as always, made the Timberwolves pay with a quick trigger 3 after McDaniels grabbed a rebound. The tempo was high, but Minnesota stayed poised. Moody, momentum, and Steph Magic Moses. Moody continued his impact with strong cuts and smooth finishes. Buddy Hield, too, showed his playmaking side, threading a beautiful pass to Gary Payton, too, for a dunk. Despite missing from deep, Buddy stayed active, contributing on the defensive end with a big-time block and hustle rebounds. Steph, always alert, hit a deep 3 from the corner, capping off a sequence where Moody and Looney kept multiple possessions alive. Steph added another twisting layup past McDaniels, reminding everyone of his body control and awareness. The Warriors played with pace, but foul trouble slowed the game, a momentum killer they couldn't afford. Fourth quarter surge, Timberwolves seal. The Timberwolves opened the fourth strong. Buddy Hield sank another 3, benefiting from Steph's backscreen that created separation. GP2, back from injury, showcased his explosiveness, slicing through the lane for a layup. Buddy added a block to his stat line, and the hustle continued. DiVincenzo, who'd been quietly effective, drilled another 3 and drew a foul, giving the Warriors a glimmer of hope, yet Minnesota stayed composed. Steph hit a deep, sideline triple, but the Timberwolves answered with timely threes from Naz Reid and Edwards. Gary Payton II added a bucket for Golden State, but the Wolves maintained a cushion. Anthony Edwards takes over. Anthony Edwards was relentless, getting to his spots, scoring from all three levels and drawing fouls in traffic. His body control and confidence were evident, especially in clutch moments. After Butler scored inside for the Warriors, Edwards came back with a smooth jumper and a deep three, showing off his growth as a complete scorer. The Warriors struggled to find rhythm. Late, TJD missed a few opportunities inside while Edwards and Reid controlled the glass. Minnesota's ball movement was sharp, each pass purposeful, each shot built from solid execution. Minnesota's defense makes the difference. Minnesota's hustle. Stats told the story: steals, blocks, and pressure defense all night. Their ability to clog passing lanes and rotate quickly disrupted the Warriors' flow. Gobert was a force inside, altering shots and anchoring the defense. Even when Golden State got inside, Gobert made them second-guess every attempt. Mike Conley's veteran presence was felt. He facilitated, drew fouls, and calmly knocked down free throws. Alongside Julius Randle, who was dominant on both ends, the Timberwolves' composure outshone Golden State's desperation. Warriors run out of time. Jimmy Butler tried to will the Warriors back into it, scoring on strong drives and creating for others. He found Pajimski for a late three, but it was too little, too late. Draymond Green's defense and leadership were there, but the gap had grown too wide. The Timberwolves, already up big, controlled the final minutes. They closed the game with smart possessions, strong rebounding, and defensive discipline. Game notes and series wrap. Julius Randle was named Player of the Game, dominating inside and on the boards. Anthony Edwards finished with 21 points and multiple key baskets in the second half. Mike Conley dished out assists and provided veteran poise in crunch time. Golden State struggled from deep in the fourth and couldn't recover after an early shooting drought. Final thoughts. This wasn't just a win, it was a statement. The Timberwolves are moving on, having exposed Golden State's defensive lapses and won the hustle battle. Their bench contributed, their stars performed, and they earned every bit of this series victory. The Warriors, meanwhile, head into the offseason with questions to answer. Injuries, inconsistencies, and a lack of rebounding all played a part in their early exit. As Minnesota prepares for the next round, their fans have reason to believe this team isn't just talented, they're tough, focused, and locked in.